So this, it's the slogan or popular term. It's the economy, stupid. Start with Bill Clinton's campaign advisor saying, forget about the other thing, focus on the economy. So the famous political marketing academic leader Dennis Johnson and I wrote this article about the 2012. Also similar, we push through, say, for Obama, you should care about the economy, about the healthcare is good, how that will stimulate the economy. So Obama time, he did that. He was successfully go through. But to Trump, whether he can continue this trend at the economic peak, whether he can continue at the good term with the economic continue be, or the income be elected. Here I just point, Hillary basically won 2.9 million more votes than Trump. How could she win more votes but lost the election? Here's the explanation. So basically, we talk about 538 total electoral college votes. This was Trump's projection. And back to the last one, since Ronald Reagan, the fact proved this Moody's study, the model is quite accuracy. From Reagan time, each time the incumbent president gets elected, it's because the economy is good. Reagan's economic policy at 1984 is turning around, a fabulous good time. And come to Bill Clinton, when he was re-election, that time his economic policy was quite successful. He was impeached after the second term. He was re-elected, then got impeached. But come to Bush Jr., the Iraq War stimulated the military industry and also carried the economic booming at his second term. Then come to Obama, when he first got elected 2008, it's financial crisis. And after 4 years, the unemployment rate jumped from double digit to single digit. So his time, the economy also is doing well. The only president did not get re-elected is George Walker Bush. He keep on talking when election time, say, read my lips, that's his famous thing, which means I will never raise tax on you, please elect me. So he got that exchange done. First time he got elected. Then the second time, his federal deficit went 3 times higher than Reagan's time. He was forced to raise tax because he has like a 200 billion deficit something. So he cannot continue function without raise tax. Then people get fed up because the economy is not doing well. That's the time. Yeah. But all this come to Trump's time. We can see this model uses 3 economic models. One is stock market, one is unemployment. The popular book related to tax, relates to people's income. But this 3, there's 2 influence on, major influence on the turnout. Use the averaging turnout or minimum turnout, Trump would win both. Only the maximum turnout, which is very hard to see, very seldom to see voters come up. Why? Because most of the people living in the poor area, they sometimes don't have the necessary registration even. They don't have an ID card. They don't drive. So those people, if they all come to vote, it will strongly influence on the Democrat side. So that's why this model is depending on the turnout. That's also where it can be influenced by political marketing, the media war. So based on this, Trump will have more than 270 electoral votes. I would say the projections show the large probability he is winning. So now let's talk about what's the other random event. I'm saying, yes, the large probability he will win, but how about random events already show, like impeachment now? People were scared, and even the market is scared, fluctuate. And continue with this picture, we talk about the stock market. Every time now, if people mention the trade war with China, the stock market will drop. So for a while now, Trump started the trade war talk, and he started, I think, 2018 in March. He started the trade war because he has some personal trouble. There's two female went on CNN, CBS interview, live interview. It's like an exploded privacy scandal come out. He quickly used Sun Tzu's the art of war principle, redirected the media attention to trade war. At that time, he doesn't care because the trade war tariff income, which is about 120 12 billion, something 12 billion income from the tariff increase for the first time in trade war. He used them totally for subsidizing U.S. agricultural export. So as a business person, that move does not make economic sense. And he got largely criticized from WTO and all the world trade organization, including Professor Phil, right? That's a no-no for globalization, for international exchange. How could you start a trade war? But recently he changed the policy. Why? Now he's officially in the process of re-election, because every time if there's a turmoil about the stock market, it will impact his chance for re-elect. That's why this obvious change in his policy. Now talk about the quid pro quo. We talk about he has so much dealing, and if that deal is not made as a personal interest to against his election opponents, it's something like Obama made a deal with Iran, but Trump doesn't like the deal. He threw out that deal, and he likes the deal better for making deal with North Korea. So it's making deal. It's all quid pro quo. Why this one is different? It's different because directed use the State Department holding on the funding. It's called something trading in something return for investigating his political opponents. That's somehow breaching the law. But the government itself, as president, that's why he didn't care so much. You're supposed to make deal for the country. That's how international political marketing is. The exchange process, cross-culture, cross-border. And how would we deal with this populism? Basically, we all experienced the Brexit and the US 2016 chance for election. We can see the populism. Now, once the impeachment started, the 3 major or 4 major polls showed people all 50% supporting impeachment. Then how do we deal with this? How would Trump deal with the trend? He has 50% chance to win the next election. Now the random event shows 50% or more people support impeachment, and this will direct influence on the voting process. He will not, probably not, or definitely be impeached, because in the Senate, you need 2/3 of the Senate vote for impeachment to be established, approved. But that needs 20 Republican senators vote against their party line to support impeachment. That's very hard to do. So there's little chance for him to get impeached, but the support is here. So how to deal with that? Back to his tweet. He tweets 11 times using the Sun Tzu's war, art of war. How to deal with the best art of war, supreme art is subduing your enemy without fight. he has his strategy how to deal with populism. And I kind of agree with this. You use the art of media to fight the campaign election war. This how to deal with the populism. This is a new field of study, continue not only domestic, also international field. So that's my conclusion. He will have the large chance to be re-elected, but if there's keep on coming more random events, will hurt his voter base, will hurt those battlefield states, electoral college, the votes. That we don't know, because like the term he keep on talking in 2016, lock her in, which means get Hillary into jail. In this case, if he's not careful, he can be cross the line before the term. For instance, impeachable offense is something like a traitor. Those things can happen if he's not careful about the populism. And I will say again, the populism could be double-edged, because if Democrats use this to push their election purpose, their election can be worked opposite way, like this time in the House voting. You got two Democrats supporting Republican. So even that can show it's double-edged. Whether Democrats will regret or not, we'll see. But at least that's from my presumption. So at the end, I have a little marketing to do. Is on the 7th, I will have similar talk in Oxford. And if anybody happen to be there, you're welcome. And with Phil, this is probably my fourth talk at Oxford. The first time is with Phil for the international conference on the political marketing events. And then I talked about this is Joseph Knight, who created the soft power. Harvard professor, dean of Kennedy School. And that time, in 1 week, we both there delivered this seminar talk. He's talking about Trump's liberalism, and I talk about Trump's tweet. And this time it's Trump's art of the media, which is related to political marketing. Any questions, please?
Julia or John?
I was just wondering, you did know that he visited one of the baseball games?
Yeah.
And in fact, when he was introduced and on the big camera, they did chant, "Lock him up." The people at the game did chant that.
Yes, I
right back
that, yes.
So it's that
Lock him up.
double-edged sort of taking a line like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of us were singing along with them as well.
Indeed,
You know.
you'd be amazed at the number of Americans at home.
I know. I think it's universal, isn't it? Yeah, the same.
Yes, he remains very unpopular if you look just at, without the Electoral College, he would not be president, and that will be true of the re-election too. His media is also geared to manipulate the Electoral College,
Yeah.
which is easier to do than to win the hearts and minds of the majority of the electorate.
Yeah, absolutely, both. So there's saying that Trump keep on saying American first, and we say his goal is election first. We probably don't care about more about that.
And the other option, John's still thinking, but the other is that the MAGA, Make America Great Again.
Yes.
And all of the hats and, bling that you can buy with that bean. It'll be interesting if the other side can use it and say, farmers are no better off now, workers in factories are no better off now. We have not gotten anywhere near his so-called iconic Great America, in fact. So it'll be interesting if he can, which he's been very successful at, ignore the facts, ignore the truth, and stay on message. And people will be bludgeoned with the media. So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Well, you're like the UK, aren't you? You've got the biggest ever civic debt. Since America was invented.
Indeed.
We under our wonderful Conservatives, of course, have our biggest debt ever.
Which is, usually not the case when you have a Conservative.
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be.
No, shouldn't be.
But somehow or other, they seem to be spending lots of state money in a way that isn't very productive. And that really is a problem. So, and they're getting away with it, I think.
And of course, it's very good if it's the politics of personality. And if that's all it ever is that you're constantly putting yourself, then of course all your funding is going to go to that cause rather than the actual running of a government for the people.
The story about the English at the moment is, of course, we've got Boris Johnson. And one of Boris's wonderful statements was, "I'd rather be dead in a ditch." So when the 31st came up, the number of ditches around the country which actually had signs up, you know, one for Boris here, people were even moving cones and basically saying it was ready for Boris. We had one outside of our hospital as well. So, you know, the use of humour, I think, is quite good to sort of bring the tempo down.
Yeah.
But there was a whopping great big one outside of the Countess of Chester, which is about 2 miles away. You know, Boris's ditch.
And the good word about populism on that Brexit is saying they made possible impossible. It's something possible, right? Now the populism made that impossible.
And that's actually very, very scary, because if you think about this, almost everything of our world is shaped by this populism. And because I'm from Hong Kong and I see the opposite of populism, the best government, I would think, probably the best government in the world, but the government will almost test you, pay very little tax, government will really clean efficiency and everything, but it's like, has been portrayed by the media, Hong Kong media and also the West media, as like the worst possible in the whole world. And also by manipulating the media, to making the true become the untrue, the black become white and the white become black. And that's the whole thing is really scary, because some people are really good at this art, or, you know, art is a good word for it. But because of that, we can see, for example, Boris Johnson now is the Prime Minister, Trump is the President, and then these are the people, we know that they can care less about people. They are wealthy people. They don't really care about the country. They don't care about the national interest. But they are these people who are on power. And we are the people who suffer because, like my family suffer, you know, everything suffer. And that is just really scary. And because every time when I hear the news and I think of you, because I think of political marketing, and I think of, you know, how important it is to the world that we are now living in.
John, and then we're going to Chris.
A study in the last couple of days just came out which showed that Warren would be beaten by Trump pretty handily. Biden would win closely, maybe. But Biden is in trouble right now in terms of fundraising and other issues. I think you're correct. The impeachment, I don't understand from a political, just a strategy standpoint, the Democratic push for impeachment, because it stands almost zero chance of passing in the Senate unless something extraordinary happens. But yet it will drive out all the media coverage of the Democratic contenders. Yes. It will drive out that side of the political advertising and marketing at a crucial fundraising period. Trump is planning to spend more than $1 billion on his re-election. I find that staggering, $1 billion. And the Republican Party in the last 3 months has raised more money than all 24 Democratic candidates have so far. So how that cuts, I think you're right. That's a wild card. I don't know how it's going to work.
The key word here is the turnout.
Yeah.
If they get close enough to maximum turnout, it'll be Democrat win.
Well, will people be weary? Will people just be weary of the impeachment? Trump is making the argument that this is a witch hunt, and he's actually positioning it as an interesting issue, Phil, when you talk about issues management. He's arguing that the Democrats are pursuing this because they're frustrated losing the 2016 election, so they're trying to take away the vote of the people, I'll leave that as is, and nullify that effect.
Yes. Back to your point. Actually, Phil is organizing a handbook of propaganda now, right? There's published handbook already of propaganda. propaganda from Oxford.
Nicholas, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nicholas.
from Oxford, there's group of study that return the concept as a neutral concept, not positive, not negative. It's just a vehicle, methodology, critical event, technology.
Yeah, and a great phrase that, back to Nixon, since you have him up there,
Yeah.
he argued, you know, that what we need to do is have law and order. He argued law and order. Now, law and order means a variety of different things depending on who you are. If you're a poor black person living in the ghetto, that means you're dodging bullets. You know, if you're an affluent white person, that means we keep these other people out. But it was vague enough. It was a vague enough phrase with great use of propaganda. Doesn't everyone support law and order? That's an awfully big issue. But yeah, but he won. He converted a lot of people on that.
Yes. And then he is a person, not Trump alone, said something, the press is the enemy.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The professors are enemy. It's right on the blackboard 100
Yes,
times.
yes.
Professors are enemy. I hope you feel disagree with him, right?
Anti-intellectual.
Yeah, and anti-intellectualism is popping up
elite
again.
is in trouble.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say thanks very much indeed to Henry for coming, and I think he was talking to me yesterday, basically said he would love to do a talk, and I think I went and saw Ing yesterday and said, Ing, do you think we could do a talk? And if you look around the room, every seat's full. So that's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Really
supporting
appreciate
this.
it. For the last minute, this is really last minute. I owe you one.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, team.
I said because you were from America and you were the visiting professor from Harvard,
Yes.
and Chester, and all the universities, the top universities, so they're all here for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So Henrik, on behalf of us all, thank you.
Thank you.